In this video, we're going to be discussing the biggest mistakes aspiring entrepreneurs make. Number one, I would say a huge opportunity is missed when people are waiting for the perfect time to get started with anything, whether it be a business, launching some sort of opportunity, offering some sort of service. Most people wait for everything to be going perfect in their life before they actually start. And the reason this is such an issue is because that opportunity is just going to get pushed down the line over and over again because something's always going to come up. Whenever you think, oh, I'll get a better job, I'll have more money coming in, I'll get a raise, whatever it may be, you're always thinking, you're just going to be thinking, oh, when everything gets better is when I can start. The reality is there is no better time than to start right now and just get your foot in the door, right? You have to just take action. If you're just going to keep pushing yourself down the line and delaying the opportunity, 1 year from now, 5 years from now, it's just going to be the same story over and over again. Then you're just going to be living with the regret that you didn't start sooner. When the reality is the timing is never going to be perfect. You just have to be willing to take the time to get started. Maybe you're working a job, you're working a 9 to 5, maybe at the commute an hour each way, you're exhausted, you get home, you decide to put on some Netflix or some TV show because you're exhausted. In reality, say you want what you're spending on one episode, like a 30-minute episode, you could be spending that amount of time building your future self. Whatever it is your goal is, right? You could be spending that time. That's what you have to be willing to do, is sacrifice the current moments and make now the best possible time, because there is not going to ever be a perfect time. Next, that gets into waiting for the perfect idea, right? Most people think that you're going to have the perfect product launch, perfect service, perfect storefront, perfect whatever it may be, before the product is out there. The reality is most companies, they don't start with a finished product, right? They start with something and then have to make changes over time. Even big brands like Coca-Cola, they've changed their formula over time. I'm sure they've also changed their logo. Many companies have done this, right? They don't start with a perfect product. The product changes over time and then it gets better. The thing is, they just have to get onto the market. They need to be like, hey, I gotta get out there and see what's available and then make changes, right? Most people think that they're gonna have the perfect product before they have any results. The reality is you need to be making changes after you see the results and then improve on them. That's the main thing. If you can make improvements, you will ultimately succeed, because then ultimately you are building a better product, right? You don't have to start with a perfect product, you just got to build something better over time. Next is getting into doing everything alone. The reality is most people think you have to go at something alone. While maybe at the beginning, on a tight budget, you can't afford to go out and pay mentors, you can't invest in courses, invest in programs, right? There's plenty of free educations, resources like YouTube and stuff that can help you. However, ultimately, you want to get to a point where you can invest into getting help, right? There's going to be always someone that has more skill set in a certain topic than you at any given moment, right? You're not going to be the best person at something. There's always going to be someone that has more knowledge than you. And the best way to get ahead is by using their help or finding some sort of help, maybe not their specific help, but someone's help to help you streamline your success, right? The best way to shortcut your success is by trying to get around people that have done it already before. And that way you can see, okay, what's working for them and what to avoid. Because ultimately, if you try to do anything alone, you're going to make so many mistakes that you're going to just be stressed out, and you're just going to ultimately end up like giving up, because you're like, okay, like I'm just making mistake after mistake when I can go learn from someone else that's probably already made all these mistakes, and then I can go save myself so much time because of it. The next thing I want to get into is, when it comes to like owning any business or anything, you want to make sure you guys are actually managing cash flow properly, right? You need to make sure you guys are accounting for taxes. You need to also know your like revenue versus profit. Most people, they just look at revenue and think, okay, I'm making $1 million in revenue, but how much are they actually taking home, right? Maybe they're spending like 800,000 on inventory, then 200,000 on like employee costs, another 200,000 like software costs, like it all adds up. And then suddenly it's like, okay, like I'm producing $1 million in revenue, but like I'm not actually bringing home anything, right? You need to know the numbers that actually make sense. Focus on what profit you are able to actually bring in, and then use those numbers to actually invest back into the business, right? Invest, obviously you have to be able to take some sort of income home. However, you can then make the accordingly adjustments to the income that you have to invest back into the business, scale up, invest in different opportunities, invest in mentorship. Use all that stuff to then grow your business and scale it up, right? Most people just try to see what they can take home and then don't end up putting anything back into the business, and then don't ultimately want to grow a business. The next thing I would say is giving up too soon. Most people give up right before it's about to go so well for them. They believe, okay, I get started, you start having some issues, and you're thinking, okay, like this isn't going to work out, and you just give up. The reality is, being an entrepreneur is like a roller coaster. You're going to have your high points and your low points, right? Nothing's going to go perfectly. That's the thing, is most people think everything's just going to be as easy as possible. In reality is, you're going to have days where you're like super stressed out, where you're like, oh my God, I got to get this task done in a certain time. I need to get it all done, or otherwise like I'm going to have an issue here. And the reality is, then the other days you're like, okay, I just made $10,000 today, and like it's a great day, on to the next, and then like you can go from there, right? But then you're going to get hit with something else. It's just going to be an up and down factor, right? But the reality is most people, like they'll give up right on that first little like downfall before it like goes up, and they don't get to actually see the results of their effort. Most people think that if they're not seeing instant results, it's not working. And the universe is going to actually test you, because the odds are, if the universe needs to see that you are actually deserving of what is coming your way. And if you can't even go through the littlest of hurdles, obviously you're not going to be someone that is going to be deserving of the rewards. So just keep going, stay consistent, right? I know it can get hard, it can get stressful, and you just have to take one step forward, right? Most people think it's like consistency is like doing the same amount every single day. Well, sometimes it's like, okay, I'm giving 100% of my effort, but today is like I'm only able to give 20% of my effort. Next day, 50%, then 45, and then so forth, right? It's like you just have to keep going and going no matter what, and just stay consistent and don't give up. The biggest thing you can't do is just not give up on yourself. And I believe anyone that just gives it their all can do well and succeed in whatever they set their mind to, right? You are the creator of your own reality at the end of the day, and if you give it your all, you can succeed. So I just want to say thank you for this video. I'm going to be posting a lot more videos. If you can like and subscribe, and also have some free communities down below. So I'll see you guys in the next video.